Two McKinney ISD boys hoop teams are in the playoffs. One is left out. Hello and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Tyler Sloan. While McKinney High School took the last playoff spot over Boyd and girls basketball, the exact opposite happened in boys basketball. Lions coach Wes Watson and Boyd's coach Dean Christian joins me to talk about their team's play down the stretch. North Daryl Kraft also is in studio to recap his team's first round win over Texarkana, Texas High. So without further ado, let's get down to business on Sports Talk. Girls basketball is McKinney High that edged out Boyd for the final playoff spot, and went the other way around here in boys basketball is Boyd that edged out McKinney High. I'm joined with McKinney High head coach Wes Watson. And coach, you had a little 5-game losing streak in the middle of district that kind of really slowed down the momentum you had built early on with your team throughout the season.
Yeah, that really wound up getting us. We had after we beat Boyd in the first half, we had a great opportunity against Plano the next game and had a 10-point lead with, I think, 3 minutes left in the half. And just for about 9 minutes, the wheels came off. And they went on a 27-3 run over the middle part of that game. And we got it back on track. We got ourselves down, I think, 14. And within about 4 minutes, we were back up 4. And then they made another little run late, and they wound up making the final run, and they wound up beating us. And that game kind of started that 5-game losing streak that you mentioned. And during that streak, we felt like we had some opportunities to get some, to win a few of those games, and just really, we created a lot of opportunities for ourselves. We turned the other teams over pretty well. Created a lot of shot opportunities for ourselves, but unfortunately the shots didn't fall. And sometimes in our game, it comes down to something as simple as just not making shots.
What's it like for the players, especially with each other in practice and in the locker room, when they're struggling, when the ball is not going through the hoop?
Mm-hmm. Well, you just have to be persistent, and keep fighting every day. And that's the thing I'm most proud of is, these guys never hung their heads. Our effort continued to be tremendous throughout the second half. Even when things were, unlikely going into those last 2 games, especially that last game, I thought we played extremely hard and gave an effort that, all of our kids and all of our fans can be proud of. I was really proud of the way we finished the season out. I wish we could have made more shots, but our effort was tremendous.
That it was. And Jonathan Shannon's a player that he did not seem to struggle even through down the stretch. He, in fact, really jumped up in the scoring a little bit, and he's continued to be a good distributor for your team. He really can do everything.
He does a lot. I mean, and he's done a lot for ever since he's been with us. He's a 4-year letterman, started some his freshman year, started off and on his sophomore year, and has been a starter, his junior and senior seasons. And he just he shows up everywhere in the stat line. I mean, he can score. He struggled early in the year, from the perimeter, but got back on track close to the start of district. He's always been a playmaker. He distributes the ball well. I think he averaged 5.5 steals a game this year, close to 7 assists, and around 4 rebounds a game. So in addition to the scoring, he's showing up in a lot of other areas. He's also not afraid to take one for the team and draw some charges, and he's just done so much for us over the last 4 years, and we're gonna really miss him.
I'm gonna miss him and a lot of other seniors on the team as well. You have Raynell Denny and Tracy Miles and Darren Donaldson, among others that are graduating, but coming back, you still have some good pieces to work with. Remington Edwards played well this year, as well as John Trail Rockmore.
Yeah, both of those kids played really well. We were really pleased with how each of those two progressed. John Trail probably improved more than any player we had over the course of the season. And we kind of hoped that would happen going into it because we just think he's got a lot of upside, and he did. He just came to work every day and continued to get better and better. Did a great job within our offense, getting the ball into the paint, attacking and drawing help, and getting other guys involved, and getting to the rim and getting his shot. And then he started, later in the year, started to knock some stuff down from the perimeter for us, and that's an area that we would like to see him continue to develop in his game. And Remington was just, he was solid from day one, and I always felt like we were a better team when Remington was on the floor. So those two guys are two really good ones for us to build around next year. And then, of course, you have Preston Smith, who had some big shots for us this year, did some great things on the defensive end. He went down to injury midway through district play, and it allowed Mickey Mead to come take some of those minutes and get his feet wet a little bit, get used to the level of competition at the varsity level. And we're just real excited about those four guys we've got coming back, and a few of those kids that coming back from the JV that'll help us next year. And it'll be a little different in terms of how we do things, but we'll definitely try to play to the players that we have, play to their strengths, and hope to have a good season next year.
You mentioned Preston Smith's injury, and so taking the injury theme, going back a little bit into the season, and one of the reasons you weren't able to pull out a couple of wins is because you did have injuries throughout your team. I know Darren Donaldson came back from an injury, but he wasn't able to be as effective as normal because he had a little wrap around his left hand.
Right. Darren hurt that left hand in the Boyd game of the championship of our tournament. And so we didn't have him for most of the first half of district. We got him back, I think, for the Plano game, which was a fifth game in, or our fourth game in. And it was good to get him back. He did. Our team improved once he came back, but Darren was playing at a really good level prior to that injury, and having that thing wrapped, he still had a lot of value to us, but he was kind of limited. He was always really good finishing with his left hand around the basket, and with our offense, we ask our guys to handle the ball with either hand. So not having that left hand at 100%, it limited him, but we were definitely a better team once he got back out there.
You lose a lot of length and size for next year's team with Raynell Denny, especially. He's a guy that averaged a double-double in a lot of games. And so you have a team now that's going to be a lot more perimeter-based and a lot more of having a lot of sharpshooters around the floor.
Right. And back to Raynell. Raynell just had a phenomenal year. I mean, the numbers he put up this year, the production that he gave us was just amazing. You mentioned averaging a double-double. I think with a couple of weeks left in the season, he was leading the area. He was the 5A leader in rebounds in the area, like 12 and a half a game. And I want to say he finished the season as the leader in the area, and just did so much for us. And obviously, we'll miss that. We haven't had a whole lot of guys like him. Maybe not anyone like him since I've been at McKinney High. So he's going to be missed. But you mentioned, we're going to be a little bit different next year. I think overall we're going to shoot the ball better, and we're going to need to, because there's some things that this year's team did really well that we may not be able to do as well next year. So it'll be a little bit different. We're going to probably be shooting the three a little bit more next year because of that's some of the things that these guys that we have coming back seem to do well. Now we're not just going to go out there and be jacking bad shots all game, but we're gonna work on shooting a lot during the spring. Encourage the guys to continue to shoot over the summer, and that'll be a big part of what we do next year. Sure.
Last question for you today. So you see on my stats, 12.4 rebounds per game is what Raynell Denny finished with this year. So very great year for him. And a lot of teams in the playoffs right now could use a guy like him to come in and get some rebounds. Yeah. Even especially your crosstown rival teams, McKinney North and McKinney Boyd in the playoffs. How do you like both Boyd and McKinney North going forward in the playoffs? Obviously, Boyd has a tough game tonight with Berkner, and North has already won one game in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, I like them both. And I think North won a big game last night. And anytime you can get that first one, that's a good thing. Obviously, it'll get a little bit tougher for them in the next round. They got Jacksonville or Lancaster. Lancaster's a perennial power. Jacksonville is, I think, 32 or 33-1. So whoever they get will be really good. North's got a really good team. They got some really good guards. They got several guys that can shoot the ball really well from the perimeter. Some guys that can get to the basket. They're going to be a tough out. If they get going, if their shots are falling, they've got a chance to make some noise in the playoffs. Boyd's got a tough draw, but Boyd beat Bergner early in the year. Boyd's a tough team, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Boyd get through that first round game. And if they can get through that, they're capable of beating a lot of people in their path. I mean, they've got a real complete team. When we played them early in the year, at the time, I told our guys, this is the most complete team we will have played to this point in the year. Now, we'd played some real athletic teams like Lincoln and Carter, but I felt like Boyd was really complete. They had good inside people. They had kids that could shoot it. They had a point guard, Parrish, that just really does a good job of running their stuff. You got a real dynamic, athletic kid like Grant that just can do a lot of things. They're a really complete team, and I'm looking forward to going over there and watching a little bit of that game tonight, because I think that's going to be a terrific contest, and hopefully, Boyd will be able to get through that game. It'll be a tough one, and hopefully the other three participants from our district, District 10 5A, will have success tonight too. I mean, I really want to see our district do well. I'm a little jealous not to be a part of it, but at the same time, I've got friendships with all of those guys, and I want to see them do well. I want to see their teams do well.
I know you didn't get the ultimate goal, Coach, of being in playoffs, but you still finished 5th in District 10 5A, one of the toughest districts around, and a winning record overall. Congratulations on a good season.
Well, I appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you.
That's Coach Wes Watson for the McKinney High School Lions. And boys basketball looking still good for next year. They'll lose a lot of seniors, but a lot of great players returning as well.